Between 60 to 90% of all diseases are due to stress. Your stress and emotional trauma may affect your cancer growth the most. In this presentation, I'm going to talk about how stress manifests cancer. In the first part of the video, I'm going to speak about the mind and body linked to disease. After that, I'm going to explain how childhood trauma may contribute to cancer later in life. And finally, I'm going to reveal why an emotional shock precedes cancer growth. Fear and stress have the purpose of protecting us from danger. It's a natural response that makes us able to run from a predator like a bear. When the body is in real danger, it activates the fight-to-flight response. The heart beats faster, pupils dilate, food movement slows down, blood vessels contract, output of digestive enzymes increases, muscles become tenser, quick and deep breathing occurs, and blood pressure increases. All this happens so that you can escape from danger and get to safety. When you are safe, the body will return to homeostasis. The heart is pumping at a lower rate, adrenaline lessens, and the body relaxes. Your mind and body are one. Your body feels everything your mind creates. If you think negative thoughts, then it's felt like an unpleasant feeling in the body. And you perceive positive thoughts as a pleasant feeling. The body, while intelligent, can't separate a real situation from an imagined one. Similar reactions will happen in the body if you get chased by a bear or thinking about it. Negative thoughts put your body under constant stress. Our bodies can handle stress for a short amount of time, but too much tension will bring your body down and manifest diseases. Have you ever watched Formula 1 races? The cars can run at a speed of more than 300 km per hour. This high speed takes its toll on the cars. Racing teams need to change the tires several times during the race, and the engine gets busted after each race. Consumer cars last for years before you need to change tires or parts. Formula 1 cars put more stress on each part, and they don't last as long as conventional vehicles. Constant emotional stress is like driving your car at its limit all the time. Because of that, the car breaks down faster. But if you drive a car at lower speeds, it will last longer. The same is with your body. If you experience shorter bursts of stress, it won't affect your body that much. But if you feel fear all the time, you will break down your body faster. Eastern medicine has for thousands of years known the link between emotions and organs. Traditional Chinese medicine discovered that each emotion affects different organs. So when the organs are out of balance, they will cause specific symptoms. For example, individuals with worry or anxiety issues have stomach or spleen problems. Heart and small intestine problems happen when people feel betrayal, heartache, and unreceived love. Lung and colon produce sadness, rejection, grief, self-abuse, confusion, and similar emotions. Kidney and bladder troubles occur because of fear, dread, horror, terror, and feeling unsupported. Emotions like shame, lust, jealousy, pride, unworthiness, and overwhelm cause gland and sexual organ dysfunctions. Your body is like a computer. To make a computer work, you need the software and hardware to be in harmony. Hardware is the thing that we can touch in the computer, like the chassis, internal parts, monitor, etc. The software is something we can't touch. It lets us communicate with a computer and tell it what to do. Your computer contains several parts that do different tasks. The processor makes mathematical calculation and is like our brain. A graphics card is responsible for creating a picture on our screens, and the sound card produces sound. A computer accepts what the program tells it to do. A poorly written program can negatively affect the performance of your workstation. Have you ever updated a program and all of a sudden nothing worked? There may be nothing physically wrong with the computer, but it isn't working as it should. For example, you can have no sound for some reason and there is nothing wrong with the computer. There may be a bug in the program that controls the sound card, and when the programmers fix the bug, everything starts to work again. The different physical parts of the computer are like the organs in humans, and the software functions like our thoughts. When our thoughts are negative and stressful, it affects our organs in a bad way. It's similar to a sloppily written program that will influence the performance of a computer. Meridians are a fundamental part of Chinese medicine. A meridian is an energy highway in the human body. Qi energy flows throughout the meridian or energy highway, accessing all parts of the body. Qi roughly translates to vital energy. Traditional Chinese medicine believes that Qi is essential for optimal health. This constant flow of energy keeps yin and yang forces balanced. If the flow of energy gets blocked, the disruption can lead to pain, lack of function, or illness. It's like water getting stuck behind a dam. Acupuncture therapy can release blocked Qi in the body and evoke the body's healing response. So when you are under stress, your chakras can become unbalanced. Sanskrit word chakra translates to wheel or disc. In yoga, meditation, and Ayurveda, these terms refers to wheels of energy throughout the body. So there are 7 main chakras. Each of the 7 main chakras contains bundles of nerves and major organs. They are also responsible for our physiological, emotional, and spiritual states of being. Since everything is moving, it's essential that our chakras stay open, aligned, and fluid. There is a blockage, energy cannot flow, and that can lead to certain diseases. When the body and mind are in a state of balance and unity, you experience good health. At this point I talked about the mind and body connection and how stress causes disease. So let's find out how our emotional trauma from childhood may influence cancer growth later in life. Cancer patients often experience isolation in childhood. Many of them had a difficult relationship with their parents. They often felt rejection, abandonment, betrayal, shame, and injustice. Some people experience a combination of those wounds. These bad experiences with their parents make them hold a grudge against them. Whether the sense of rejection was right or not, the individual perceives it as real. Cancer manifests after they suppress these feelings and reach their emotional limit. Cancer patients are often caring, dutiful, responsible, and hardworking people. They have a strong tendency to carry other people's burdens and often worry for others. Because they often didn't receive their parents' love, they have a deep-seated need to make others happy. They are people pleasers with a high need for approval. They often lack closeness with one or both parents. Sometimes this may lead to a lack of closeness with a spouse. Many cancer patients harbor long suppressed toxic emotions such as anger, resentment, or hostility, and many have a great difficulty expressing their feelings. Because of this emotional trauma, they react adversely to stress and are bad at coping with it. And this results in a lack of closeness with their rejecting parent and later their spouse. So let me give an example of this. So Steve Jobs was an American entrepreneur, businessman, inventor, and industrial designer. He was the co-founder, chairman, and CEO of Apple. Steve Jobs died of pancreatic cancer in 2011. He was born on February 24, 1955, in San Francisco. His biological mother was an unwed graduate student named Joan Simpson, and his biological father was a native Syrian named Abdul Fattah John Yandali. Steve was born out of wedlock and was put up for adoption. Paul and Clara Jobs were a lower middle-class couple that had settled in the Bay Area after the war. Joan agreed to have her baby adopted by them, under the condition that they later sent him to college. Paul and Clara called the new son Stephen Paul. While Steve was a toddler, the couple moved to the Santa Clara County, later known as Silicon Valley. They adopted another baby girl called Patty 3 years later in 1958. Steve was an emotional child and adult. In his autobiography, you can read about his angry outbursts at his employees. He often yelled at his employees and was a perfectionist and demanded a lot from them. Steve Jobs knew from an early age that he was adopted and felt the pain from his parents' rejection. Because of that abandonment, he felt like the chosen and special one. Those concepts became part of who Jobs was and how he regarded himself. His desire for complete control of whatever he made derived from the abandonment he felt at birth. He wanted to control his environment and saw the product as an extension of himself. Jobs did keep a friendly relationship with his biological mother, Joan Simpson. Over the years, she and his biological sister Mona would often spend Christmas at Jobs' house. He still had no desire to see his biological father. The traumatic events that cancer patients feel during childhood build up negative energy. Sometimes they experience a difficult situation that becomes too much for them. And this leads me to the final part of this video. I'm now going to speak about the emotional shock that manifests cancer. Dr. Gerd Hammer is the founder of New German Medicine. He discovered a connection between cancer and unresolved emotional conflicts. After a man killed Hammer's son Dirk, he soon developed testicular cancer. Hammer had good health all his life, so he thought it was weird that he got cancer. He wondered if the emotional conflict after his son's death had anything to do about it. Hammer worked as a chief of internal medicine in a clinic at Munich University, so he wanted to know if other cancer patients had emotional conflicts that led to cancer. He was able to interview and do CT scans of thousands of cancer patients. His research led him to discover how emotional trauma affects the brain. He called these psycho-emotional traumas Hammerherz. Every cancer starts with a painful, acute, dramatic and isolating shock. The distress happens on the psyche, the brain and the organ at the same time. According to Dr. Hammer, once a perceived conflict or shock occurs, it impacts the body in a particular way. The brain cells affected by the shock relates the shock to the particular organ which it controls. Dr. Hammer analyzed the data he got when he interviewed cancer patients. He soon found certain patterns. Every lung cancer patient, for example, had a Hammerherz in the same spot in the brain, and they experienced the same kind of inner conflict. Here you can see a chart of organs and the emotional connections. These conflicts happen about 2 years before the onset of detectable cancer. The traumatic event that triggers cancer growth is often beyond the patient's control, such as the loss of a loved one, business, job, home, or some major disaster. People with cancer overreact to most difficulties in life and feel stressed out. The hypersensitivity to life's events makes one receptive to cancer. It's not the stressful event that causes cancer, but our inability to cope with the situation. The World Health Organization conducted a study of 6,284 Jewish Israelis. They either lost an adult son in the Yom Kippur War or an accident between 1970 and 1977. The study followed them over a 20-year period and compared them to others that didn't experience a loss. There was an increased incidence of cancer among parents who suffered a loss. Parents that lost their children in an accident also had a higher risk of lung cancer. A Greek study found that traumatic life events preceded tumor growth. In the study, Group A had 813 breast cancer patients. In Group B, 685 women without cancer. They showed a positive correlation between conflicts in life and cancer growth. These conflicts were usually the death of a loved person or a partner conflict, or family struggles, financial problems, and so on. The University of Helsinki, Finland conducted a study of 10,808 women. They wanted to know whether stressful life events influence breast cancer growth. The women received a questionnaire in 1981 to record their life events. The researchers identified 180 cases of breast cancer between 1982 and 1996. Divorce, death of a husband, a close relative, or a friend increased the risk of breast cancer. Steve Jobs got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in 2003. According to Dr. Hammer, patients with pancreatic cancer had an anxiety, anger conflict with family members, or some conflict about inheritance. Steve had a history of conflicts with family members. Jobs had a relationship with Chrisanne Brennan in the 70s. He ended their 5-year relationship when Brennan became pregnant with a child. Jobs denied being the father of the couple's daughter Lisa for years after she was born in 1978. His relationship with Lisa was up and down. On one visit he could be playful, and at the next he could be cold. Brennan had a stormy relationship with Jobs. She resented him for his initial denial of fatherhood and his treatment of his daughter. She also felt anger for his limited financial support when she raised Lisa. This feud continued until his death 4 decades later. So 2 years before his cancer, this conflict with her might have been too much for him. And this could have been the tip of the iceberg that finally manifested cancer. If you have cancer, can you recall a stressful event that happened 18 to 24 months before your diagnosis? Healing and letting go of this issue might be your key to health. Today you learned that the mind and body are one. Stress creates an energy imbalance and manifests disease. People with cancer often felt rejection, abandonment, betrayal, shame or injustice in childhood. Cancer patients react adversely to stress and often become unable to cope with it. Every cancer disease starts with a painful, acute, traumatic and isolating shock. I hope you found this video interesting and discovered that your stress and emotional trauma may affect your cancer growth the most. If you want to learn how to deal with the emotional trauma that leads to cancer, then please download our free ebook. You learn a 3-step formula on how to let go of toxic negative emotions that you experienced as a child. You can also visit our homepage and get access to our free resource library. Download our free guides about diet, detox, emotional healing and more. Please press the like button if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and I see you soon.